Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Stern coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. The last one for July, since next Sunday I will be at camp. I'm just trying to get my phone mount to stay put. So I got Impulse, Booger Butt, and Booger Butt. And Sean Hack here so far. Thanks for dropping in. This is a Sapaco. And they date code everything. (342nd day of 2022), and from what I have heard, this may have been the last year for the seafood chowder because it is no longer in the lineup. Which is a shame because it is one of my favorite American rations, aside from the halal ones. And as you can see, I brought out the Tupperware tray. And because it is a chowder, I'm going to be putting it in this bowl. But for now, that will stay off to the side. And the peelable seal is a little off center. It should be right there if they want it in the center of the bag, but it's a little that far. But we'll see. These MCW bags are as thick as the older standard MRE bags, but I got into it, and they have gone with, at least for this one, unlike newer versions, this is the older Mountain House, although the logo is just, it's not a solid M. So that may have changed. Now MCWs have the Mountain House Pro Pack, which is the same exact packaging that you can go to any store or any online store that sells Mountain House products and just buy it. Of course, the seafood chowder is not one of them, which is a shame because I like it. So the Mountain House now, I dumped everything out because I wanted to get to this. And just for the so we've got a couple of things that will need the hot water. So they got a ramen noodle here. So I will need another container for that. So I think what I'm going to do I'm going to put all the other items back in the bag. And I'm going to show you that immediately the accessory pack, it comes with the Tabasco sauce bottle. I had commented on Corporal's Corner video how the Tabasco bottle was replaced by the packet, but then the bottle was brought back. And so here is the Tabasco bottle. So I just thought I'd go ahead and show that. And they have also gone to a commercial sugar packet. This Enjoy is a food service staple for commercial kitchens, any entity that uses a food service supply company like Cisco or some of the others that are around in the US. Plus, you can go to Costco or Sam's Club. I'm not sure which because I don't have a Costco membership. And you can buy the shaker cans of the Enjoy Sugar and Enjoy Creamer, as well as I think you can get the packets that way as well. So this may be a cost-saving move on the part of the packers. They're doing this. So that is a coffee mug prepped. Got Mom Styles in the house. Sorry, this thing is still... There we go. Out in the field, you would pour the hot water for the ramen in here, but I'm not going to do that. And I forgot to bring a pair of scissors to cut this open. So I'll go cut this open, or I'll bring back a pair of scissors to cut this open, and then when I pour the water in here, I will use this clip to close that. There's spicy tuna rolls in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'm squeezing this, just kind of break it up, loosen it up. Sorry, I'm going to put that there for a moment. I can already smell the shellfish, the clams and oysters or whatever they all put in here. And I'm using a long-handled spoon. Focus back. I take this clip. I got a mug that I'm doing the ramen in. I'm going to throw a little bit more water in there. Now I'll get the kettle out of the way. There's Robert in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I just gave my coffee a stir. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this in between the coffee and the ramen. I got to make an adjustment to my foam mount again. Sorry about that. This thing is pretty old. One of these days I will upgrade it. There's Multi-Magnum in the house. Thanks for dropping in. This is 2022 MCW Menu 6. And now that I got all those items out of the way, now I will do what I would normally do first. Prepare my cold drink, and it happens to be that tropical punch. This is one of those that takes a long time for it to dissolve. But because I need to eat some clock while I wait for the seafood chowder to rehydrate, I decided to go ahead and mix this. There's still a lot of the powder at the bottom of my drinking jar. I'm just going to leave my spork in there. And now I will show you what everything else is in the bag. Got standard emery spoon, which I save. It will get added to my collection of disposable utensils that I save for emergency use. In the event that I have to severely restrict water usage. Got the moist towelette. You saw me mix up the coffee, the Bill's Brew. The standard Lighthouse rear roll. Again, the Tabasco. And I just dropped the matches. And this is the peppermint gum. So the matches D.D. Bean and Sons. Still not. There we go. This company has been making matches for the U.S. military for decades. Then the only other two items in the bag are vegetable crackers, which I love, and the marble pound cake. And that is it for the seafood chowder. I'm going to go ahead and start tossing all the trash into the ration bag, which is what I normally do. One piece of ramen didn't get into the mug, but that's okay. I got it in there. There's the Carlos Perry in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'll set that off to the side. I'm going to open the pound cake. Nothing on the back. Came out pretty clean. And the pound cakes have all gone to the round shape that resembles the muffin tops instead of the rectangular or square ones like in the past. Menu 6 seafood chowder packed in 22 by Sapaco. And there is the date code. So this is a seafood chowder in here. Right now it's being supported by my coffee mug and the mug that the ramen noodles are in. So all of the water has absorbed into the ramen noodles. It's chicken ramen. This is the old MRE Nation steel mug. That was a decent hiss. Sometimes these crackers may stick to the packet. Only a few crumbs. The dark dots that you see on there are the vegetable bits. And this looks to have gotten a little extra toasting. Not much, but a little extra. And I am okay with that. See, this is the only U.S. ration drink that still leaves this kind of foamy stuff. It doesn't always dissolve. Yeah, it has a weird texture when you just try to eat that foamy stuff. So I decided to go ahead and get some of that out of the way. There are no spreads. There's my crusher in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So because this is a chowder, a soup, you basically get to do what you would normally do with a soup. And you can break the cracker into bits and drop it in. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and give this ramen a try. So they say to drain the water, but whenever I do ramen, I just put enough water in it just to allow it to rehydrate and maybe leave a little in there for a bit of a broth. See, there's carrots and corn in there. I think that's the only veggies that I can see. Yeah, that's perfectly done. I'm gonna go ahead and take a nibble of this cracker, vegetable cracker. These have a lot more flavor to them that I wish the standard MRE crackers would have. I took the clip off. This is going to be thick. Even with my long-handled spoon, I'm getting it on me, but I don't care. I'll lick it off. I'm going to call it good for that. Good. There is CT in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope everything has been going well for you. I'm breaking up. I'll probably just break up one of the crackers for now in here. This chowder is already pretty thick. I think the one other time I had the seafood chowder was probably at 2018, either 2017 or 2018. I don't remember. I'd have to dig way back to see when I had this for the first time. It also had the chicken ramen. It may have had a different dessert. I don't remember what that would have been. And it definitely had a different coffee because Bill's Brew was not being used back then. It was probably a type 2 or type 3 coffee in the tan packet. Yeah, thanks for dropping in, Mike. Hope to see you next month. Yeah, this seafood chowder, I'm bummed that it's no longer in the lineup. So I keep messing with this thing, but right now this is how it's going to be until I can get things put back the way I want. Yeah, this seafood chowder, I don't know if I'll ever get it again. Some of the clams and oysters might still be a bit chewy, but they'll probably continue to soften up as it sits here. Mountain House may offer other seafood or fish-based options in their retail lineup, and other companies may do as well. So that could be an option for you to check out. The standard Amory and the First Strike rations will have tuna. Now, some of them will. No. If you want fish sticks, you can make your own. You can cut a firm flesh fish into strips. Bread it and then fry it and make your own fish sticks. That way you know what's in it. Yeah. Yeah, they could do better with that. Although I have seen some flavors other than the lemon pepper or just a plain tuna. Sometimes a spicy one. Like a sweet and sour or sweet and spicy or something like that. But who knows, maybe that will eventually get phased out. We'll just have to see what comes along. The one of the newest MCWs that Mike reviewed had the chicken and dumplings in the retail Mountain House Pro Pack. Oh, I bet that would be a good way to do salmon. When I hear fish and chips, I usually think of maybe catfish or cod or some other fish like that. Yeah, I remember those. As an adult, I even got those because it would have some of the items that I wanted. Or it was just the size that I wanted. But it's been years since I've gotten those. I think the last time I loaded up on the TV dinners was I got a whole mess of the banquet ones after I hurt my shoulder back in like 2006. And I could not work for a year. So my sisters loaded me up on those because I could open them up, toss them in the nuke box, and it didn't require lifting of a pot. And they did my laundry for me at the time. Because where I was living at the time, I had to go down to the basement, and I was on the third floor. Gonna have another bite of the ramen. That is your bare bones basic top ramen type. Nowhere near the flavor of the ramens that I usually get, like the mi goreng or the Sapporo Ichiban or some of those other ones. Oh, you know who might like that? I think Cliff might like that. After all, that sounds like something that he could get up there in Alaska. Yeah, I would go to a sushi restaurant to get it. I got some from just up a grocery store shelf. I ate it. It wasn't near the quality of what I had when I had it in a restaurant. And that was my first time having sushi. California rolls, and I think there's one other. A poke is another thing I'm not familiar with. Yeah, trout is something that I would definitely want cooked. Although I've actually never had trout before because I've never gone fishing for it. I know people who do go fishing for it, but they have access to places, rivers that do have trout in them. And here in Iowa, if you want to fish for trout, you have to get what's called a trout stamp added to your fishing license. And because I never bothered to do that, I'm not paying the extra fee to get the trout code or whatever they put on it on my license, which I buy online through the Go Outdoors Iowa. Several other states do what's called the Go Outdoors, but then you download the app, the version of the Go Outdoors app that's specific for your state. I don't know if all states do that, but I know Iowa and some other states do. And my license is set to automatically renew on January 1st. Yeah, I'm not all that familiar with Hawaiian cuisine. I've had poi once, but that's been years. But I actually liked it. That was the only time I've had it. And for I understand that was properly prepared. Oh, Cold War Prepper is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I don't know if you've ever had this one. This one was packed in 2022. And this one came with the little Tabasco bottle, which seems kind of odd for seafood chowder. But it is no longer in the MCW menu lineup. It has been replaced. So I think 22 may have been the last year that this one was produced. Got the vegetable crackers. I like them. They have more flavor than the standard Emery crackers. Now there is a shrimp. And different, there was a different tuna menu back in the 90s in the brown bag. There was a tuna and noodles. And from what I have heard and seen, that one does not hold up well over the years, even if well stored. Got the Bill's Brew in the delicious mug. Delicious all the way from Poland. Then I got the tropical punch in the drinking jar. It is the funkiest of the US MRE drinks because it doesn't completely mix up, and it has a different feel to it when you drink it, especially if you get the foamy bits. That might be a bit of a problem, fishy. Well, speaking of pierogi, I made an additional shopping run last week. I didn't do a video on it, but basically all I did was I went and got about $40 worth of food to put in my freezer. Maybe it was like 40, 41, something like that. Of course, I got me a soda to drink while I was waiting for a bus. And then I got me a 75-cent candy. I don't buy candy all that often, but I just did. So I got 2 bags of pierogis in my freezer. I've been craving pierogi for quite some time. But the rest of it is basically meat items. Just to get started on restocking my freezer to replace what I lost when my last fridge crapped out, and I had to throw away a whole bunch. Well, Robert, maybe it wasn't the pierogi that got you. Maybe it was another person. That got you. Well, I guess that's more for me. I'm a Polska. I gotta have my pierogi. Not all the time, but once in a while, I want to get it. Now that I gotten rid of most of that foam stuff off the top, that tropical punch doesn't taste like I'm sipping oil. Vegetable cracker. Nope, this is actually a chicken ramen. Oh, what do you know? There's actually peas in there. So you get seafood chowder, you get chicken ramen, marble pound cake that's round like the muffin top. That's where the oxygen absorber was. That's what it looks like on the other side, all nice and shiny. And the vegetable crackers. Actually, if you eat the Takis with the sour cream being dairy will cut through the heat of the Takis. Yeah, pretend the lights are out and just as you're starting your meal. Yeah, when I went to high school and college back in the 80s, I kind of had to do the same thing because some of the stuff they put on your tray that they passed off as food made me wonder. Yeah, Mama, that kind of sounds like the way I heard it when I went to Mexico back in '86. That if you're in an area where even the locals don't drink the water, they'll drink beer. Even if it's a very light beer, they would rather drink beer or coffee or something like that than the water because especially if you're outside the city in the rural areas where you don't have access to municipal water. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or even if you mix it with some alcohol, because the alcohol is an antimicrobial that was probably done back in the day as well. I think, you know, quite a few years ago, I watched a program on TV. I think it was either on the History Channel or something like that, or TLC or whatever, one of those networks, or maybe even PBS. I don't remember. But if the water was not that great to begin with, even after boiling, you put a little bit of alcohol in it, in order to make it more palatable, and even the kids would drink that. Of course, it had to be very low or for kids, but it's what they did to keep them from getting sick. Yeah. Yeah, even back in the 80s. Of course, the house that I stayed in and the two hotels that I stayed in had purified water available for us to drink. And the couple that I stayed with, they had been housing students since their own kids had grown up and moved out. So they wanted to make a little extra money off of their big house and house students coming into Guadalajara to study. Oh, there's Cliff. We were talking about you earlier. Were your ears itching? Mama had a seafood dish that she likes to make, and I said, I think you would probably enjoy that. You'll have to repeat what you said about that salmon, fish, and chips. So, yeah, for those that may not have noticed or read the last week's chat replay, Tim, my Iowa brother, is out of the country. He went to Australia. So that is where he's at. Well, good to see you back. Smokey was live last night, but he has some power issues at his house. And where he does his setup for his reviews, he can't get power to that, and he hasn't been able to figure out why. So he basically recorded himself trying to rescue a bird that got knocked out of its nest and putting it up in a box where mama bird could get it, but yet keep any cats and other critters from getting at it. Break off another piece of this vegetable cracker. Yep, that's probably what he's doing. It's Monday morning in Australia, so he's probably having breakfast. I think it would be neat if he could record some of the things he's doing and then put those up on YouTube. Yes. So this coming Friday, I'm skipping town. My family's annual trip to Lake Arcadia. Let's get that focus back. But this time we're staying an extra day. Or in the past we would spend 6 nights there. This time we're spending 7. That's just how my sister, who booked it 2 years ago, was able to do it in order to get roughly this time frame and the 2 cabins that we always want to use. So last year we booked for 26. And this year, unless we decide to change where we go for our annual family trip, we'll book for 27. Potato pieces in here are soft. They do kind of dissipate in your mouth, but that doesn't matter to me. I'm still enjoying this. Yeah, we are definitely looking forward to it. And even my sister, who had foot surgery after Thanksgiving, she's going, even though she will be somewhat limited on her mobility. She's able to drive. So that means that we will still be able to have like 4 vehicles. We always say we're going to try to pack less, especially when it comes to the food, but you know how it is. We like to have our camp favorites. I got a pack of beef bacon in the freezer. I got some halal beef hot dogs. I got some beef breakfast sausage. And I have some other assorted snacks. We all contribute to the snacks. So we don't take every single bit of food that we're going to use for the whole week with us. We take some, and then once we get settled into the cabins, then 2 or 3 may go make a shopping run in town to buy the remainder of what we need. For instance, we may not pack eggs. We may wait till we get into a grocery store in Corning to get them. Plus, we usually want to get firewood anyway. There is one thing I forgot to get, which I will do tomorrow. I forgot to get a pack of the halal marshmallows from Halal Groceries. I usually take a pack of them, to put them on s'mores. We always do s'mores. And we cook some of our food over the open fire. One of my sisters owns a Blackstone cooker, and that thing is the best investment you can make for outdoor cooking, other than a 2-burner camp stove like the Coleman. So we have the Coleman propane stove, and she's got 2, I think they're 10-pound propane tanks. They're not your standard 20s, they're smaller. And it's easier to maneuver the smaller ones. And still have the same amount of propane. So she's got those filled. And then the Blackstone, so that way the Blackstone grill can be connected to one tank, the Coleman stove can be connected to the other, and it just works out perfect because you got 2 cooking appliances. You need 2 separate tanks if you don't have the splitter hose. And it's just easy to turn one on and not have the other. It just makes sense to do it that way. And it's just enough fuel for the week. The cabins that we stay in have a microwave and a fridge. That's okay. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, he is in Texas, so he got some of the effect of Hurricane Beryl. Not a direct hit, but he's dealing with the heat. Well, that's no way to spend a vacation time. Got to get out and have a little fun. But we take a coffee maker and an electric kettle. Plus, we make coffee on the camp stove. Well, it sounds like someone else is overdue for a vacation. Yeah, I hope you have a full recovery from that one. After we get back from the lake, my sister has to go back for another foot surgery because the first one didn't exactly work as intended. There's still some problems that have to be resolved. So this is an additional delay in her going back to work, if she's even able to go back to work. Or if she will have to just suck it up and go on permanent disability. Ooh, that doesn't sound fun. I know someone who had both done at the same time. And it was no vacation for him. This is a marble pound cake. They've started doing all these pound cakes round. I'll go and break it open. So that's what it looks like on the inside. It's a nice looking pound cake. You can definitely see the variation in the color. This one has not been around all that long. And it tastes very fresh. It's not dry. I'm not wanting to immediately go for something to drink. So I'm definitely happy with that. Just like I'm definitely happy to have vegetable crackers in here. Just an extra little bit of flavor would definitely make it a morale booster. If this was a shrimp ramen, I would be combining it with the seafood chowder, but because it's chicken, I'm keeping them separate. Yeah, this is my 1983 Tupperware tray. James Ortiz in the house. Thanks for dropping in. This is a 22 pack. And although I'm not using it, the little Tabasco bottle. And I got vegetable crackers to go with the chowder. I don't remember if I had plain crackers when I had this menu the previous time, but the ramen was the same. I don't remember what the drink was. This is Tropical Punch, the funky one. But I'm sad to see this menu go. I got this from Carla, Stanton Shenanigans. She had it and she sent it to me because she knew I would like it. Wow, you're just a youngster. I was 17 in 83. I turned 18 in January of 84, and then I graduated in May of that year. My parents came up from Arkansas to attend my high school graduation. It just didn't make any sense after they got work down in Arkansas for me to go down there for 1.5 months of school and possibly not having credits matched. And now I'd be forced to do an extra year in high school just because of one little discrepancy. So I stayed here in Iowa. I finished high school and then went down to Arkansas. That was just the logical thing to do. I studied Spanish in college. And it was while I was down there that I got to spend a month in Mexico, so I did that. Get that focus back. There was no spread in this one for the crackers, so I'm doing what I'm pretty sure the soldier in the field would have done, crumbled up the crackers and put them in the chowder. Or maybe put them in the ramen if they so desired. The only other change that I can see would be this is Bill's Brewers. Back then, I probably had a type 1 or no, a type 2 or type 3 instant coffee in a tan packet. Every U.S. ration, you're going to get Bill's Brew. Unless it's one of those cappuccinos. But going back to this tray, in 1983, there was the spring of 1983, I was a junior, and we had one of many fundraisers we did to get us money to cover a senior class trip, which we took in March of '84. And one of those fundraisers was a Tupperware party. So we were selling Tupperware items to anyone in the school, families, or staff. And I bought this tray and a couple pieces for my mom. I think that one of them was the Tupperware refillable rolling pin. It's hollow inside instead of a solid wood or solid plastic, and you fill it with water as much as you want or as little to change the weight of the rolling pin. And it came with a rolling mat with the different circle sizes marked for pie crusts or torte crusts or anything like that. So I got that for my mom plus some other container. Plus this tray for myself. I used it a few times taking it to events where there was food, but we had to bring our own tableware. So I took this tray. And then after I won an Amory from Sticky Finger 745, I decided, you know what? I'm not just going to open it up and eat it. I'm going to review it on camera. And I used this tray. I did not have this titanium spork. I was using the utensils provided. And speaking of, look how this is bent. I'll take it out of the wrapper so it'll show up better without the glare. Somehow it got formed into the shape while it was still warm from the forming machine that it came out of. I've never seen a spoon come out of an MRE curve like that. Usually they're just straight. I thought that was also a bit unusual. But it will go with the rest of my plastic spoons in a Ziploc bag to be saved for emergency use when I have to go to disposable tableware. If I have to severely restrict my water use and I can't use a lot of water aside from the bare basics of cooking, you know, personal hygiene, giving water to the cat. Yeah, I've never seen a spoon look like that come out of an American Ration. I have a brown MCI style spoon, which I thought was unusual. Uh, some of these spoons have come out like two-tone, couple of different colors, or lighter color than this brown. Well, he might be the youngest in here. Got the tropical fruit punch in here. And from what I've seen regarding these red drinks, I'm hoping that a certain color is actually outlawed and the red 40 can go bye-bye. I did hear that another ingredient usually found in citrus flavored drinks like Mountain Dew or a sun-kissed orange or some of those, that they use a real fruit extract. Yeah, he was on last night and he was explaining why he hasn't been able to do any review streams. He's got power issues in part of his house that he has not been able to solve. And it's in the area of his house where he has his review set up. So he showed himself trying to take care of a juvenile bird that fell out of its nest, and he got it into a shoebox that he ripped a little hole in, or cut a hole in, just big enough for a mama bird to go in. And he put it up on his roof. And I guess after he got offline, that he put an upended laundry basket over the top with a rock or a brick or something on it to hold it in place to keep other critters out, but yet allowing mama bird in to take care of that baby. And he said before he got off that he did see a mama bird flying around the roof where he put that box with that baby bird in it. But yeah, he was talking about the power issues. and that about how one of the cats that he's been taking care of got picked up. He hasn't been able to figure out what happened to that blind cat or whoever may have picked up that cat. You can buy plastic spoons on Amazon, unless they would get confiscated at the border. And speaking of wood spoons, I had seen someone open up a Norwegian Arctic field ration that had a wood or bamboo spoon in it. But that one that I got off Amazon, it didn't have any spoon in it whatsoever. I don't know if that was an oversight on the part of the person who was on the packing line when that green bag was being loaded up and the spoon just missed. Yeah, I found that odd that my pasta bolognese Arctic field ration didn't have any spoon in it of any material. Oh, that's a crapper. Yeah. eBay might be another option, or yeah, it is kind of weird. Some U.S. states have already banned plastic shopping bags in stores. So, for instance, if I go into Walmart in California or whatever other state has banned plastic bags, I would have to have my own bag anyway. I do not think that's going to happen anytime here in Iowa. That would not fly with our legislators here. Yeah, there you go. One thing I have done is if we get to multi-packs of the utensils at my mosque, like the sets that have the plastic forks, spoons, and knives, we don't use the plastic knives. I separate those out, and I have brought some of them home. We still have quite a few there, probably at least 7 to 800 plastic knives in there, not counting the ones that have recently been separated out from those multi-packs or variety packs. I have a few of those plastic knives in a quart Ziploc bag that I'm going to take when I go do the kids' crafts at the White Eagle Multicultural Powwow in September. And I'll tell the kids they can use them for mixing paint colors if we have thick paints. And I may take additional ones over to where the kitchen area will be in case they are needed there. I had already given some to the head of the powwow organizing committee, and she put them in the storage unit. So I may go get more from the mosque since we don't use them anyway, and add those. To what I will take there. The plastic knives would also make good drink stirrers too. They're longer than those little stir sticks you can get in packs of 100 or 200 or whatever they are. Oh, you might have to try something else. Well, there's always X, formerly Twitter. Or just email. See, right now, it's Fahrenheit. So we have gotten out of the heat wave that other places are getting. In fact, this is actually cool for here. Yeah, the sun is just setting. This went crooked again. There we go. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah, yeah, it's really weird when when the cliffs part of Alaska is warmer than Des Moines, and I'm farther south. Yeah, that is some weirdness going on. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, the only reason why some people even use like Instagram or Facebook is to communicate with people who are far away. It would be not so convenient to call or even email. Yeah, that does sound like you're having a nice evening up there. Yeah, today I watched a video from a Canadian named Jay Leger. He was at his cabin up in northern Ontario, and it was, I think, 30 some Celsius at the during the few days he was up there working on his shed that he built out of scrap material from lumber that was left on the property when he bought that cabin. And he was looking at the container that the wood protectant came in, said, do not use above 30 degrees Celsius. So he's like, nope, I'm not putting any more of that on. Yeah. And he was fishing for trout, but ended up catching pikes. And one of them would have been a keeper, but it had something funky on it. So that one went back into the drink. Not sure if he was using the wrong lure for trout. He wanted trout, but he kept hooking pipes. But it may have been too hot for the trout to come up when he was fishing. But yeah, he said it was it would be 90s Fahrenheit, and the humidity was something awful. And he could not get the cabin cool enough to make it comfortable to sleep in. I've never had it, so I don't know what it's like. I've had walleye, and I do like that, but I've never had pike. I've never had trout either. I'm eating some more of the chicken ramen. Yeah, so that would definitely explain why he was not getting a trout to bite. Plus, he might have been using the wrong lure. But he said that he's not all that great a fisherman, but he says he's going to keep trying and keep trying to improve. Yeah, I don't know when he actually shot that video before it was uploaded. I think it went up today. So it might have been within the past couple of days that he came back from that cabin trip. And he has to take his boat to get there. And then when the lake freezes over, he can drive his truck across it. Because the ice is more than thick enough to support someone driving their vehicle across it. Except in those in-between times when the ice is too thin to drive on, but yet there's not enough open water to drive your boat through. There are no roads on the land to get to that particular location. Yeah, ice fishing is something I've never done. I think my dad has done it when he was a lot younger. Two people I know here who do ice fish, Tack and Brenda. The channel used to be known as ALK Foraging and Adventures. Now it's like ALK Homestead or something like that. Because they're doing a lot more of that type of stuff. Tack canned a whole mess of sweet corn, and what could not be canned, sorry, brief disconnect, and what could not be canned, they ate for lunch. That, I think, is like a couple of days or so of footage that she put together. So they ate some of it as part of their lunch, and then what could not go into the canning jars went into the freezer in the quart Ziploc bags. And she said that this is just the first round of sweet corn that they bought from a local farmer. They're going to get more, and then she may can it. She may put it in the freeze dryer. So that way they can have sweet corn all year round. And then some of the cobs went to the chickens, and some of the husks went to the chickens. Some of the husks went into the compost, and the other cobs got thrown in the freezer, and then they will be given to the chickens on super hot days so that they can have a cold treat. Just for something different for them. They got, they have a few chickens. They don't have too many. You can only have so many chickens when you live in the city. Yeah, no roosters though, but you don't need roosters to get eggs. And speaking of sweet corn, at camp, what we like to do, and it's a really cool way to do it. We have one small cooler that's probably about as long as this tray, maybe a little bit wider this way. And it's probably about, say, from the table to the top of, let's see, this box here. Then after we shuck the corn, we put it in the cooler, and then using either the electric kettle or just a coffee pot that's on the camp stove, we just boil up a bunch of water, maybe throw some salt into the cooler, and then pour that water into the cooler and close the lid. And then you just put it out, just outside, like in the sun. Thanks for dropping in, Mom Styles. Hope to see you next month. Then we get that going before we cook anything else for that particular meal. That way it frees up the camp stove, and really hard to, it'd be hard to boil a huge pot on the Blackstone cooker. And if we're cooking over the fire, because each cabin at the lake has its own fire pit, so we use one of them. So that's basically steaming that corn in that cooler full of hot water, and it actually stays hot all through the meal, and it's still fairly warm when we're done and we're ready to, if we have any ears left over, put it in bags and throw it in the freezer. Yeah, we actually made corncob jelly when I was in fourth grade at a school in Nebraska. We didn't get a whole lot of it, just enough for each of us to have a little sample of it. But it was very delicious. It's actually not weird at all. It just looks like very, very lightly colored apple jelly, probably about 3 times lighter in color. It would be interesting to see it made from a colored corn like blue corn or one of the darker colored uh, heirloom variety corns. You might want to try going to a farmer's market to see if any of the jelly makers have it. And I'm sure there are videos here on YouTube about it. I would love to have it again. I haven't had it since then. Well, you need to get out of that state and come here to Iowa. We'll try to get you something good. I can get those here. I'm across the street from a Tasty Tacos. Well, actually across the park from a Tasty Tacos. There's my street, there's a park, and then there's another street, and on the other side of that street is Tasty Tacos. So I can get those. I just don't do it a lot. Well, that'll take care of the seafood chowder, and I just finished off that last bit of cracker. Down to my marble pound cake. Or just skip the drive and make them yourself. That way you can get them exactly how you want. Well, tortillas can be easily had. It's not like they're ultra rare in Alaska. See, fishy, problem solved. He doesn't have to go hunting for tortillas. A hard one to find would be blue corn tortillas. But you get the blue corn masa harina. You can make your own. Yeah, yeah, there's something fishy about that. I could think of something I could refer to Taco Bell as, but I won't say that on here. Well, he didn't see you already in here. Yeah, Cliff came in after you did. Yeah, he was sitting in the dark corner. Yep, this marble pound cake is pretty darn good. Take a drink of coffee right after eating a bite of it. Almost get an extra hint of the chocolate flavor. Yeah, I used to eat those a lot, but I just don't bother with them much. Oh, I bet they enjoyed that. Probably didn't feed the neighbors. You probably fed a whole platoon. During Ramadan, we'll go through 50 pounds of meat per each iftar dinner that we do. Sometimes more. Sometimes 75. A couple of times we had three of those big 50-pound capacity meat boxes come into the kitchen. The first two would be full, the second one would probably be about half full. Yeah, those super heavy waxed boxes. With a big old plastic bag inside it, maybe another one, and then maybe the meat inside of that. So it's like double, triple layered. Well, I hope they paid you a little bit to do that. Because that was a lot of work to make all that food. Just finished off that tropical fruit punch. Now there's a red tinge inside my drinking jar. Hard to tell on camera, but yeah. The red drinks leave a red residue behind in whatever you're drinking out of. Yeah, that's a good chunk of meat too. Well, there you go. That would be a good barter. Well, the delicious mug is now empty. Oh, I'm sure he did something more than pastrami. He probably, I bet some of it was, if you smoke it, oh boy, would that have been good. Showing the back of the Tabasco bottle. Wow. Probably holds everything except the moo. Yeah, that's one heck of a setup you got up there. I just have one of those little stove top or grill top smokers that is about the size of a smaller rectangular cake pan. It's got a little. You put your wet and a few dry wood chips in, then you put this other piece on top. Then you put whatever you're smoking on top of that, and then put the lid on and put that over your heat source. So I could put maybe 3 chicken breasts in there at a time, depending on the size. or a single turkey breast and smoke that. But that's the closest thing to a smoker setup that I have. Well, and for someone with the limited amount of space, and if it's just one person, it's a perfect size. Oh, my brother used to love the Hickory Farm smoked cheese. And I enjoyed it too. Once in a while, we might get into some of that, but not as much as we used to back in the day. Never tried smoked apples, but I bet you could do the same thing with pears. I bet even a smoked pineapple would sound good. Well, I think since I'm done with everything here, I'm probably going to go ahead and call this one done. Even though I got plenty of juice, could yap all night, but I really don't want to do that. Some people probably have to get up early in the morning since it is Monday. So again, I want to thank you all for hanging out for a little seafood chowder. This one was as good as I remember, maybe a little more so. Although a type 1 coffee in a mug would have been better, but, you know. But anyway, remember, next Sunday I will be at the lake. No way to stream. Signal's iffy at best. I could get off a picture once in a while, but that would be about it. But August 4th, I will come back live. I'll open up the last low sodium emery that I got. And I will have also put in an order for some more rations to at least finish out August. So anyway, thanks for watching and catch you on the flip side.